Wow. Mizzou beats LSU with a final score of 45-41. And I said last week we had a chance in this game, but did I really think we were going to win? No. But holy cow, what a game.
This game felt like we never left the Big 12. It was just scoring on scoring.
Yes, a lot to unpack from this game. But, I mean, where do we even start, really?
Let's start with the fact that there's no way in hell Odom would have won this.
Yeah, what a heck of a first win for Drink. I mean, an all-SEC schedule, I think pretty much everyone had LSU winning this game. But, I mean, this team just fought and fought and fought. And I got to say, the play calling from Drink today was awesome. I mean, he had that one really questionable screenplay on the 3rd and 11 late in the game, but it ended up not mattering. But all the end arounds and the improvising with what was a very scrap heap of a wide receiver group. I mean, Chisholm out, Hazelton out, Jacinto out, and we managed to win with guys like true freshman Chance Looper and former quarterback Micah Wilson catching passes. And I think it's clear now. There may have been a few people out there who thought maybe Sean Robinson should get another shot. I think it's clear today. Bazelak has to be our guy going forward. I mean, 406 yards and 4 touchdowns, and also 500 yards of total offense in the game, over 500 yards of total offense in the game, which Mizzou has not done since 2018 Vanderbilt.
Jesus. That is insane.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah,
just really goes to show that Mizzou has a bright future with Drinkwitz coaching this team and handling the offense. But I mean, you saw it all game. I mean, the running game was gashing LSU. Roundtree looked great. Beatty looked great out of the backfield. Just Connor Bazelak, really, really good performance today. Just getting the ball to every single receiver. ESPN highlights are playing again. I don't even care. But I mean, no one had Mizzou winning this game, but the defense was very porous, but I won't complain much since we won, and when we needed them the most, they came through on that goal line stand, which will forever be remembered in Mizzou history because Mizzou never wins this type of game. Like, Mizzou has not won this game in their entire existence ever, and they did it today.
What I thought was going to happen is when they got to the 1 yard line, I'm like, okay, it's fine. They're going to punch it in here. We're going to have like 40 seconds and 2 timeouts. Bazelak will be able to drive downfield because we had been dominating them throughout the year. But then we stopped him on the first time, or on the first play, and it went down to like 19 seconds. And I'm like, shit. And then the next play, I think they tried to set up a screen pass. Nick Bolton swatted that shit down. Final play, pass broken up, Mizzou wins. Insanity. Just insanity.
Yeah.
Man.
I saw a video on Twitter. I saw a video on Twitter of the final play, and you could kind of hear the crowd roar. But it was only 25% capacity. They only had like 10,000 fans there. Man, that's one of the downsides to the coronavirus. I mean, had that been a packed home stadium, I mean, holy cow, the reaction from the crowd would have went down in history. Although, I guess you can't really say that because had there not been a tropical storm, the game still would have been played in Baton Rouge. But who cares? I'm not considering that. All right. But I mean, the defense, yeah, just really porous all game. Terrence Marshall for LSU, number 6, their wide receiver, killed us for basically the entire game. He was a one-man show on their offense, but like I said, it ended up not mattering, and a lot of people questioned Drinkwitz not using any of his timeouts on LSU's final drive. I think the reason he did that was because he thought he might get the ball back if they let LSU score, so he would need those timeouts for the last drive, but either that or he just bet on his defense, which, I mean, that's a gutsy move, but wow.
It worked.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest Mizzou win since the Cotton Bowl, right?
Has to be. And I said this before we started recording, but I think that was the most entertaining back and forth game Mizzou has had since the 2013 SEC championship game.
Yeah, that goal line stand felt like 2014 when the wild card Chiefs, they would go on to become a wild card team, took on the defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks, and we stopped Marshawn Lynch on the goal line multiple times to win the game. That's what I felt like watching that, and it was just so insane. I was just waiting to get hurt again by this team because I've just become so accustomed to it. Like, we didn't have any Kentucky bullshit happen this time. We just bet on our defense and somehow won.
Yeah. And, I was really getting Chiefs-Rams 2018 vibes from this game. I really thought it was going to come down to you should have just let them score and you should have just gotten the ball back and tried to outscore them. But, just, wow. That's all I can say. I've said it like 5 times already. But, like I said, this is a game Mizzou never wins. But we'll talk about it more after this quick break. We're going to go to break real quick, and then we'll continue with some more. And now that we're back, I wanted to point out the fact that what makes this even more impressive is that Mizzou had one healthy starting wide receiver in Jalen Knox, and they also had Kobe Whiteside out, who was the sack leader of this team last year. No Dominic Jacinto, no Damon Hazelton, no Kiki Chisholm. There was one more. Oh yeah, Byers was out. And I think I may be forgetting one, but a lot of key players out for this game, whether it be due to COVID or injury. But, it's just so impressive. And like you said last week on our pod about how Drinkwitz gives off this vibe that he's very overwhelmed and it feels like he's letting the fan base down. Well, I may be overreacting by saying this, but I think this game today makes him deserve a lifetime contract. Just give it to him.
Well, yeah, because this is basically all Mizzou fans have ever wanted. They have just wanted to be able to go toe-to-toe with these big dogs and come out on top. And, Odom would have been in this situation but lost to Kentucky. And we pulled out against LSU. There's no way in hell that happens. I don't even think Pinkel pulls this off. But, even if we drop a couple games that we really shouldn't, if Drink can circle those games, those big games on the calendar and win, that's really all we want.
Yeah, one of the biggest criticisms of Odom when he was here was he could never win the games he was supposed to, and he always lost games that he shouldn't have, which I guess is somewhat of a good or bad thing depending on how you look at it, but I think we can all agree that Odom wouldn't have won this game. I just don't see it. But we'll get into looking at some of the position groups in a little bit. But, just, again, the fact that we were so decimated by injury and COVID and we still won this game, Drinkwitz has to be so happy. He said in his postgame, he's damn proud of this football team, and I would be too, because this team is, they don't, this is not LSU. We're not pulling in 4 and 5 star guys left and right. And I understand this isn't the same LSU that won the national championship last year, but at the end of the day, it's LSU. It's a storied, historic program, very well coached, and Drinkwitz gets his first ranked win against the defending national champions. Mizzou fans, you get to say that.
Well, that's big because, for a little bit, Mizzou was number 1 on trending, and people on Twitter who follow sports got notifications about Mizzou beating LSU. ESPN set notifications out about Mizzou beating LSU. It's a big deal, and that's going to get the eyes of recruits. They're just like, oh shit, this team just beat LSU. Maybe I should look into that. Maybe they're putting something together there. And then Drink, when he goes on recruiting visits, can say, hey, we beat the guys with the rings. That's why you should come to us. And that just really helps them in recruiting. Whereas if we beat Tennessee last week and lost this week, it really doesn't have the same luster.
Yeah. Hell, Mizzou could lose every single game for the rest of the year, and I wouldn't care because this one was just that much worth it to me emotionally. But yeah, no, you definitely hit the nail on the head by mentioning that this is a game that gives Mizzou positive PR. This is a game that catches the eyes of kids in high school, kids that are considering Mizzou, like, hey, Drinkwitz is really building something here. And not only does he get to say that we beat the team with the ring, but Drinkwitz can actually flash his own championship jewelry. He has his championship ring from Auburn whenever he was on the staff with Gus. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see a Drink versus Gus matchup, but that's not going to happen this season. Oh, and another thing, you talked about injuries earlier.
Yeah.
But you didn't mention the fact that on that last drive, our defenders were going down like flies.
Yeah, they were.
We're dropping like flies every other play. So we had basically our second team defense out there for that goal line stand, and we still did it.
Yeah, and how about Nick Bolton batting down that ball on third down? Now, as much as I would have loved to see him pick it off, I mean, had LSU completed that pass and Bolton didn't make that read, I think LSU gets in the end zone. So you got to hand it to the All-American linebacker because I don't think Mizzou wins the game without that third down play from Bolton. That's why he's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick. And then the final play, that bat down right in the corner, and then just seeing all the team just, flood the field from the sidelines. I mean, what a sight that was.
Jesus. If we don't belong in the SEC, then neither does LSU. It's just... Man, I'm just so blown away by the fact that we actually pulled this off. And just that being Drink's first win, I listened to all of Drink's post-game press conferences and interviews and everything like that. And I could just hear in the back of my head him talking about how disappointed he was and how he thought he had a good game plan. Just like he did talking about Alabama and Tennessee, but he actually pulled out the win. And there were some times where I thought he kind of screwed up, but overall, I thought he did a fantastic job play calling outside of that one screen pass.
Yeah.
A lot of people got pissed off at the fake punt and the misuse of the timeouts. I actually agreed with not using the timeouts on that last drive.
I did too.
And I agreed with getting aggressive at the beginning.
Yeah, well, I like the aggressiveness. And I think what happened was, and you don't want to admit this as a coach, but I think Drink didn't really feel too good heading into the game. But when he saw that Mizzou was fighting and it was like, oh my God, we actually have a chance in this game, I think he started to adjust his approach and really, really take his time calling plays and stuff where I think typically, yeah, he would just kind of, let's go for it on fourth down and see what we can get or whatever. And I also didn't agree with the one play where Bazelak, he was really close to a first down but didn't get it, and it was 4th and 1 and he decided to punt it away. Again, didn't matter. Because the defense, I think, ended up holding LSU to 3 on the next drive, which allowed us to score and take that lead that won us the game. And what a catch and run by Chance Looper, the true freshman. Like I said, just the amount of people we got involved in the offense who had never really even seen the field. Just that was really cool to see. Toski Dove, walk-on wide receiver. Barrett Bannister, walk-on wide receiver. Chance Looper, also a preferred walk-on, son of Curtis Looper, on Mizzou's staff. I mean, and Michael Wilson, QB converted to wide receiver, has a touchdown in the game. I mean, just how impressive is that to get these guys that were never expected to do much, that, Barry Odom and staff probably never even thought about using, and this guy Drinkwitz is using them to beat LSU. I mean, that's just so cool to me.
Well, like you were talking about with Drink not being confident coming into the game, we talked about this when we were talking about Bama. When you play a team that you know is better than you, First thing you do is come out aggressive and try to punch him in the mouth, get him off balance, and just try to hang with him after that. You get out front early, and then you just try to hang out. And that's what Appalachian State did to beat Michigan. That's what anybody who tries to pull off a big upset does. And I think you missed it, but first play of the game, Sean Robinson and Bazelak were both on the field.
Yeah.
And then both of them motioned up to wide receiver. Larry Roundtree got a direct snap. And that's kind of what that first drive was. And then it was the flea flicker touchdown pass. So that's kind of what Drink's initial game plan was, and it was working. But he then realized that we were about on par with LSU, talent-wise.
Yeah.
So that's when he kind of cooled down and started calling a normal game.
Yeah, and then from there on, I mean, the offense looked amazing. I mean, Drink was on a heater. And also credit to the rushing game once again. Larry Roundtree, 119 yards on only 18 carries. That's super impressive. Tyler Beatty had a really nice catch right up the middle out of the backfield earlier in the game. But, I mean, and you had Tosky Dove again out there, I mean, making Derek Stingley the best cornerback in the nation his son. Granted, I think Derek Stingley was actually a little banged up. But, I mean, just, again, like I said, just the amount of guys that had never done anything for this team ever to just be thrown in the game and contribute like that. I think it's really awesome to see. But I want to talk about the position groups individually and how we thought they performed. But again, I'm going to take a real quick break, so we'll talk about the position groups coming up. All right, so we're back, ready to talk about the performance of each position group. And I think we got to start with who I think we would consider the player of the game, Connor Bazelak, in his first official real start. He had that one against Arkansas last year in Barry Adams' last game, but honestly, like, I don't even know if you can count that really. But the fact that he threw for 406 yards and 4 touchdowns and completed 29 of 34 passes, and he's only a redshirt freshman. I think this kid has a future in the NFL, and I don't think it's a knee-jerk reaction to say that. I mean, the way he is comfortable in the pocket as a redshirt freshman, the way he he had that one little fumble on the sack earlier in the game, but that's stuff you kind of expect to see out of a freshman. But he just has that it factor to me that a lot of quarterbacks don't have, but they need to be that quarterback. But to me, Bazelak has it.
Yeah, he approaches games kind of like Nick Foles would, where it's just kind of like, okay, we're just playing another football game. He doesn't get really worried about anything, and that's why I think he's so good. You know, what you want your quarterback to do is you want him to deliver the ball where it needs to get, or where it needs to be. And you want him to make the team around him look better. And that's exactly what Bazelak does. He is cool and confident in the pocket. He has a quick release, which makes it easier for his linemen, and he delivers perfect passes exactly where they need to be.
Yes.
So that makes everything better for his receivers. Stark contrast from Kelly Bryant.
Yeah, I noticed a lot that the way he throws the ball makes it very, very hard for the defenders to get a hand on it or intercept it. He really likes to just put it right where the receiver needs to get it. A lot of like tight windows, little slant route crossers to get us a quick chunk play. He's really good at throwing those types of balls. So, yeah, Connor Bazelak, this guy's a stud. I think we can all agree that he's going to be the new QB of Mizzou. I almost said franchise QB. I don't think you can consider him that for a college team, but you get what I'm saying. And then the running backs, Larry Roundtree, a stud as always. He had the one fumble, I believe, but if you actually go back and look at that, his knee was down. No review from the refs. I think that was a BS non-call. But besides that, great game. Like I said, great efficiency, 120 yards and 18 carries. Tyler Beatty, 5 carries for 39 yards, and he also had 28 yards receiving. Good game by him. Anything you want to add to the running back aspect?
No, up, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I was really pissed off with the Roundtree fumble, and I've always been more of a Beatty guy, so seeing Beatty go off made me really happy.
Yeah. And receiving wise, like I said, I mean, you just have to, you feel great for this group. I mean, here's everyone on Missouri that caught a pass today. Tosky Dove, Chance Looper, Jalen Knox, Deontay Smith, Barrett Bannister, Micah Wilson, Tyler Beatty, Nico Hea. I mean, how many Mizzou fans listening to this even know half these guys? Honestly, I mean, Jalen Knox, his speed on those end arounds, very, very impressive. Screen plays as well. He had 56 yards on 5 receptions. Chance Looper had that 170-yard play, his only catch of the game, but it was a 70-yard play that set up the go-ahead drive for Mizzou. Tosky Dove, this guy is someone who, if he's not on scholarship, he needs to be already, because 83 yards on 6 catches, and I mean, he's made some circus catches in his short Mizzou career so far. Just really, really impressive. I like the way he catches the ball. Barrett Bannister, 4 receptions for 52 yards. And then Micah Wilson, the former quarterback, 2 receptions for 45 yards, including a touchdown. And then Nico Hea as well, who had the nice little flip play to him that gave us a touchdown. Very nice as well. Again, anything you want to add to the receivers?
The Micah Wilson play was just insane. I think it was supposed to be like a curl route for everyone, and he went downfield, and the corner just didn't follow him, and Bazelak was able to see that there was absolutely no one, floated it up, and Wilson made the catch. It was beautiful. And I just wanted to add one more thing about Bazelak, and we can probably use this to segue into offensive line.
Yeah.
But once again, the center had a terrible snap, and Bazelak fumbled the snap and had to recover it quickly. And once again, he didn't get nervous. He picked it up, went to go see if there was any receivers open. There weren't, and he threw it out of bounds. That's exactly what you need to do when a play completely falls apart like that, and it was great to see from a redshirt freshman.
Yeah. One thing I do want to add, and this is kind of a hot take. I may get killed for this, but I just want to say this. I think Drew Lock is an amazing quarterback. I think he will have a good NFL career. I love Drew Lock. He's one of the best Mizzou quarterbacks of all time. But I don't think we ever saw Drew Lock take control of a game and win it like that for Mizzou. I mean, what Bazelak did today was amazing. Again, I know this is not the same LSU team, but Drew Lock never had... I mean, that Florida game, really nice, but when you talk about a game where you're under pressure to score on every single drive, and you you're just handed the keys, it's your second real start, whatever you want to call it, and he just goes out and just takes control of the game and shreds an LSU defense like that with the number 1 quarterback in the nation. This guy, he could end up being better than Drew Lock.
Lock never had that signature win, and to Lock's credit, he did have to play under Derek Dooley.
Yeah.
So I feel like that could significantly hurt him. But Lock is more talented than Bazelak, and I feel like Lock is almost cocky. Bazelak is confident, but he's not cocky in any way. He goes out and he just plays football, which sounds really simple, but it's really important. I keep comparing him to Nick Foles, and it's because it's a good comparison.
Well, the thing about Nick Foles
handled himself for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the thing about Nick Foles is he was never that flashy, but the dude was just a winner, and I think that's what Bazelak is. He's just a winner. But offensive line, we can transition into that. I thought they performed fairly well, although I think Bazelak was good at getting the ball out pretty quickly. But the O-line, I thought, looked very, very good. They had a couple holding calls that really killed them, especially on that drive that led to the 3rd and 11 play. A couple holding calls that really killed that drive. But besides that, I thoroughly enjoyed watching them block today.
I wouldn't say enjoyed watching them block. Bazelak had a quick release,
yes,
and he was able to not get rattled at all. Something Miles Brennan can't say. But I feel like that made the offensive line look a little better. Just the fact that he had a quick release and he was very calm.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't think the O-line was asked to do much today, but they still went ahead and performed what I thought was pretty well. I mean, what you don't want is an O-line that will just instantly collapse and just has no blocking whatsoever that makes it impossible to run or pass. And you know what? They really held their own because I mean the holes for the running backs were open all game. Bazelak was able to be effective. Just a really solid performance overall against a credible opponent. And I want to take one more break, and then we will look at the defensive side of the ball, and then we'll wrap up the podcast. So now getting into the defensive side, the defensive line, I thought actually got solid pressure on the LSU quarterback today. Despite the fact that the defensive line is still a weakness, they held LSU to 45 rushing yards, I believe it was. He was 45 or 49, but really good rushing defense today compared to what they were against Tennessee. And Miles Brennan, who I thought got the ball out fairly quickly for LSU, I think Mizzou still got solid pressure on him. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there were a lot of plays where the Mizzou pressure got there, and they hit Brennan, but he still got the ball off, and somehow his receivers caught it, so that was really frustrating. And you could see by the end of the game, we had kind of worn Brennan down by continuously hitting him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Drink said he wanted his defense to be. He wanted to get after and harass the quarterback, and that's what we did. We kept hitting Brennan, and eventually we wore him down, which I think was really good.
Yeah, definitely helped considering the fact that we were able to stop him at the end of the game. But yeah, defensive line, I thought they got solid pressure for what has been a disappointing unit for the past few years, but solid game by them today. The goal line stand, credit to them there as well. Looked very, very good. Whiteside looking good in the middle there. And then although Whiteside, I don't think he played today, but I may have gotten him mixed up with someone else. I forget who was in there. Oh yeah, that's right, Ben Key, and then one of our JUCO transfers. I forget his name. That's who we had at defensive tackle today. That was it. So again, really impressive that we had 2 scholarship defensive tackles, and we got the job done and held LSU to 40-something rushing yards. I mean, that's just, again, Drinkwitz winning with these players just makes me really, really happy. But moving on to the linebackers, Nick Bolton looked good as always. This is one of his best games, I thought. And Devin Nicholson, his co-starter, he had a sack today. Looked very solid as well. I thought they could have used them a little bit better in coverage. I know they had Nick Bolton on their tight end number 2 a couple plays, and he did fairly well there. But linebackers, good game. Anything you want to add with the linebackers?
I don't have a lot to say about the linebackers, but I would like to point out the fact that 5-star St. Louis wide receiver Luther Burden picked Oklahoma over Mizzou, and Mizzou just beat LSU. Meanwhile, Oklahoma is going into a 4th overtime with Texas,
who will never be back.
Yeah, you really made the right decision there, bud.
Well, hopefully he watched the game today, and we got a long way until signing day, so hopefully he changes his mind. But the secondary, so Rakestraw looked good. I thought Birding, despite getting burned a few times, was really good. He had that nice hit. I forget who it was on, about halfway through the game, that gave that LSU player whiplash.
He's playing corner.
Yeah.
I don't know why Ish is playing corner other than just out of necessity. To me, Ish should be a box safety.
Yeah.
Like a Landon Collins type.
Yeah, for sure. And then Jarvis Ware looked good in his first game back, I thought. The safety play was very shaky once again. Bledsoe and Gillespie looked good again, I thought, especially at the end of the game there. But Martez Manuel had that one. I don't know if you remember, but one of the LSU touchdowns, where the safety number 3 almost had it, but it went like kind of right over his hands into the LSU wide receiver's hands, and they scored on that drive. That was really tough to watch, but I think it was more so just a bad play more than Martez Manuel being a bad player. I think he's been really good so far. But yeah, again, anything you want to add to the safeties?
Nothing with the safeties, but as usual, Ennis Rakestraw was the best player in the secondary, and it really wasn't that close. Ennis Rakestraw is just so good. He's not a 3-star player. He's significantly better. And I'm so happy that he picked Mizzou over Texas and Alabama.
Yeah, and he got hurt, which I think is something to note later in the game. But it looked like Gillespie just kind of fell on him awkwardly and kind of got shaken up. So I think it was more of like a midsection injury kind of shaken up. I don't think it'll be anything too serious. He was getting iced after the game, so I think he'll be okay. But yes, he definitely contributed today. But yeah, secondary in general just kind of was very porous at times, and that Terrence Marshall, number 6 for LSU, that guy's an NFL player. There was really no answer for him. I thought they should have doubled him, done everything they could to slow him down, because I don't really think it's a game if he's not a factor in it. But that's pretty much it as far as analyzing the position groups. But
whoa. You forgot the best player on the team.
Who's that?
The thicker.
Oh, Harrison Mevis, yeah. Booted a nice 50-yarder today. He missed one of the, I think it was like a 56-yarder. I don't care about that. Besides that, he looked great.
Yeah, I'm not going to hold that against him.
Yeah, I mean,
but he banged a 51-yarder.
Well, here's the thing.
So
he can hit extra points, which we couldn't do half the time with McCann and Odom.
Oh, yeah. I'm much more happy with Mevis than McCann.
Yeah. Special teams was kind of rough today, but I don't expect that to be a trend. I have a lot of faith in Coach Eric Link, who had one of the top special teams units at App State in the country. And another thing that I wanted to bring up was that Mizzou just needs to take care of the ball a little bit better. Too many turnovers today. But again, I don't think that's something that will be a trend. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We look forward to Vanderbilt next week, who I think should be an easy win, but you never know. Vandy always kind of plays Mizzou close. But again, they could lose every game for the rest of the year, and I won't care, because this was just such a... Mizzou needed this win. They really did.
Yeah, I think the fan base is happier than they've been in a long time.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else you want to add before we let everyone go?
Nope.
All right, well, that's it. Mizzou fans, enjoy your win. Enjoy your weekend. You just beat the defending national champions, LSU Tigers. We're the real Tigers. Peace.